Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19. Folks, we got an interesting video for you to talk about. This is Dana Evans and Isabelle Harrison from the Chicago Sky in their presser after their final game of the season. They did not make the playoffs. Of course, the Atlanta Dream slipped into that number 8 spot. Now, just as a refresher, with regard to the Chicago Sky, because we're going to get into some words that Dana and Isabel have to say in terms of dealing with fans. Now, that refresher, Marina Mabrey, she wanted out of Chicago and she got out. She's a very solid 3-point shooting guard, now playing for the Connecticut Sun and helping them out as they move into the playoffs in the number 3 seed to take on the Indiana Fever. Earlier in the season, there were some issues, I know, where she missed some big free throws in a couple of games, and she was viciously attacked by Angel Reese fans online, and she wanted out. Dana Evans also requested a trade, and then she got benched for it. The only 2 games of the final 5 that she played at least 20 minutes, where she played 20 and 22. She had 14 points and 13 points, but hey, why play her, right? Because she requested a trade, and Chicago's clearly not a professional organization. We had the presser with Camila Cardoso, right, where she's looking around because you're hearing all the banging in the locker room, and then she's talking about, hey, could someone please shut that door? Because, again, professional. Speaking of professional, I'm not sure there's anything professional about the WNBA from top to bottom that I have seen yet this season. But that being said, we're going to dig into a little bit of what Dana has to say here about the fans. Keep in mind, what we're eventually going to get to and talk about is how this relates to all of the attacks on the Caitlin Clark fans out there. This is so there's a little fun in this as well for the rest of
here. With all the new attention, maybe that's not the right way to put it, but
no, I get what you're saying.
How did you guys experience that? What was the sort of content of it? Like, what was the feeling like? What were you reading, seeing, hearing?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. It was tough. I mean, Izzy, I know you can attest to that too. Yeah. It was really tough. I mean, we're professionals. We know that we can play this game. I mean, but when you got people that's steady bashing you, that's supposed to be our supporters, I feel like that was a little slap in the face, and that was hard to kind of deal with. But
it was disgusting.
It was really disgusting. But I always say God does not make mistakes, and I feel like this season really challenged my mental to another level. And I feel like I'm going to be so much better next season, just mentally prepared for everything. And I know, Izzy, you kind of feel that way too.
Before we get to Izzy, I'm sorry. It just flashed into my head. If anybody saw the Avengers Age of Ultron, after Ultron comes to life and Robert Downey Jr., it's a very serious thing, and they're talking about all the things that could happen and go wrong, and Robert Downey Jr. is laughing, and it's not funny. It's horrible, right? That's kind of how I feel right now. Is it horrible that I actually found that a little bit funny? And here's why. She was talking about Chicago Sky fans, everyone. She's not talking about fans of other teams, such as, I don't know, the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark. She's talking about Chicago Sky fans, and that it's disgusting that their own supporters are saying negative things. Look, because I know there's going to be at least one person in the comments that's going to take it to extremes and say, oh, well, then you support these awful, awful things being said. No. Online, there are idiots. There will always be idiots. There's going to be trolls that take things to the extreme. But that is not what we're talking about. Welcome to sports. You say you're professionals and you know you can play. I've yet to see that the WNBA is a professional sports league from top to bottom. You've never had sports fans. Now you might actually have a few sports fans. And guess what? Sports fans can be tough They can be tough on their own teams. They can be tough on their own players. They can be very critical of you. They can boo you. They can say nasty things. And I'm not excusing that. I'm pointing you to the reality of being a professional athlete. Uh, 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 Welcome to sports, WNBA. Welcome to sports fandom. Fan, short for fanatic. Well, I got more to say on that, but we're gonna let Izzy talk a little bit here and listen to what she has to say.
I've never experienced this amount of
Hate.
and harassment this entire season. I get emotional about it because I know Dana went through the same, but it's hard because it should have never been like that. And to go and just want to play basketball every day, and you have people constantly, and if it's online, it's online, but like you now get tagged in it, and I'm constantly having to block people and just people making narratives up about you. It's hurtful.
It is.
And it's hard to just focus on basketball. And I appreciate the new eyes, but if it comes with hate and bigotry and racism and even people that look like me bashing you, you can keep it offline because it's so hurtful and you don't know how that affects people. So I think that's just something that a lot of new fans need to be mindful of, and we don't want that to carry into the locker room. And
Wow. I really want to be sympathetic here. I do. I mean, I'm sure again, it's online. I know what kind of trolls are out there. I get it. People say the worst, most horrible things, but I don't even know if that is what we're talking about because we know that is a small, small part of it. Even the absolute crap that shows up in my comments is overwhelmed by so many of you that write a lot of really well thought out comments or just saying something nice about the show, answering questions that I've actually asked, adding to the conversation that we're having. And that completely overwhelms some of the nasty comments. So in general, and I think we're talking about general fandom, that they are not used to sports fandom, as I said with Dana. And it was just weird that she even gets into there. People who look like me. Well, I really struggle to wrap my brain around that type of stuff. I think what is it you're saying? By the way, I don't think you're really much tanner than I am, Isabelle. Now that now that I look at you. But anyway, it's just it's odd to me. I mean, you're right. If it's on social media, stay off. That's what you should be doing. I understand you're getting tagged and it can be trouble and you have to block it, but life's tough. I'm sorry. I know this might come off as mean. I'm not trying to be mean, but again, something that's different about the WNBA. You don't see this in the NBA. You don't see this in the NFL. I just did a video about this where I even showed Myles Garrett from Cleveland talking about, hey, look, the fans have every right to boo when we're not playing well. And by the way, again, nowadays with booing, that social media, of course, is going to be a part of that. You lose me a little too when you bring into like it's shocking that it's even people who look like you, as if you expect it from those that don't. That's really, besides, I'm pretty sure people like Cheryl Swoops have said that it's impossible for people who look like you to be like that. Let's stop judging people by how tan they are. Let's do that. Boom, let's do that. And look, Isabelle Harrison, in my opinion, from watching what I've seen of the Chicago Sky, they might be in the playoffs if Isabelle Harrison had been handled correctly by an absolutely horrific, toxic, incompetent, hateful coach. But seriously, Isabelle Harrison should have been starting at forward in place of Angel Reese. She is a better basketball player than Angel Reese, period. But instead, because Teresa Weatherspoon was all on the Angel Reese is our Auntie Caitlin Clark, so we're going to make her into a superstar. She took minutes away from Cardoso by playing Harrison for Cardoso instead of playing Harrison for Reese. Harrison is a forward. Cardoso is a traditional center. Angel Reese is a forward. Harrison should have had Angel Reese's minutes. Harrison should have been starting. And by the way, now that she's playing more minutes with Angel Reese out, she had 2 double-doubles in the final 2 games of the season with 13 points and 11 rebounds in both games. Do those numbers sound vaguely familiar? She had 10 points and 8 rebounds in the game before that. Isabelle Harrison could have helped the Chicago Sky team be a better team. But no, we had to go with Angel Reese because of the Caitlin Clark dynamic. So let's listen a little more. This gets more interesting.
Exactly. And to piggyback on that is, I'm going to say, especially for the people that support the Sky, if you're going to support the Sky, support the Sky. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that was a big issue. And it messes with your mental. I don't care how good you are or what's going on. You're going to see stuff. You're going to read stuff. But this, it made you a lot better. It made us a lot stronger up here. And we'll be better next year.
You learn from it.
Real quick. Back to Isabella. See, again, and that is the issue I have with being maybe not as sympathetic as maybe I should, is that is a serious sense of entitlement to me. And I know they're not getting NBA money, all right? I get it. It is a little different. But relative to what a typical American makes and what they have to do to make that, being a professional basketball player in the WNBA is a good gig. And to have this sense of entitlement that you're demanding that the fans who allow you to have this can never be critical of the team's play or of your play it's delusional. It's really, really unrealistic, and it's an insane demand for you to make by people who choose to spend their time and hard-earned money on supporting you and allowing you to be a professional basketball player. But again, I would also like to point out, on the flip side, yes, these people are the most awful, awful people in the world. The fans, they're toxic, they're terrible, they need to be called out. Where is Angel Reese? She must call out her fans. Because that is what we have seen with Caitlin Clark and her fans, right? That is what is really funny about all this, is they are talking about the Chicago Sky fans, folks. They're not talking about the Caitlin Clark fans. They're not talking about the Indiana fans. They're talking about their own fans. And if I've understood the rules, we know that they're really talking about Angel Reese fans. Clearly, the Chicago Sky fans, the Angel Reese fans, are very toxic. They even have problems with tan people, as Isabelle mentioned. Right? They're going after players on their own team as well as players on other teams. So Angel Reese must. It is unacceptable for her to ignore this. She must come out and denounce every single derogatory comment uttered by one of her fans. I mean, it's what the media has told us must happen. It's what the WNBA has said must happen. It's what Angel Reese herself has said when lying about Caitlin Clark fans repeatedly must happen when it comes to Caitlin Clark fans. Let's face it, we really know when it comes to random trolls, but they're saying that it is Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark fans. So where's Angel Reese? She must call a press conference. This should be everywhere. She must be out in front of this, denouncing all of these fans that are attacking people like Dana Evans and Isabelle Harrison on her own team. This is unacceptable behavior. Oh my goodness. I kept that going for a while. Let's finish up and see what here in this last are in
girlfriend, you just stay away from it, because it's like, I'm not going to attach that to my name, but there was just so many times that was just a factor and it shouldn't have been. And it's just disappointing that was the case.
What do you put that down to? Where is it coming from? Where is it originating?
Before we go quick, Teresa's like, man, I better get out there. People are telling me where this line of questioning and the answers are going, and it does not make me look good as a coach because mainly Teresa's not a good coach. Teresa's not a good person, which has been made blatantly clear all season long. So she's got to be. They know, right? Now think about, look at that. She's got hands on shoulders. Isabelle Harrison played less than she should have because of Angel Reese, because of the toxic environment created by Teresa Weatherspoon with favoring Angel Reese and encouraging dirty plays by the likes of Kennedy Carter. She's created this terrible atmosphere in Chicago Sky that we know about. Dana Evans wanted out. Dana Evans got benched for wanting out. And here we are with the coach behind her with her hand on her shoulder. That is not a comforting or sympathetic gesture. I can tell you that right now.
Why?
The internet is
the internet. And honestly, like she was saying, a lot of our fans were doing that. And it's hard because you just try to stay away from it. And Spoon attested to it so much. Just get off of it. And even when you're off it, it still happens. So there's times I wouldn't even look at my social media. And that's just such a crazy place to be because I get so much support from it as well. But when there's so much negativity, you have a job to do, obviously you stay off of it. And it's just like people just run and go with narratives, and it's just so detrimental to a team's success. You just have to block it out. And like we said, continue to do a job, but it's hard when it's like every single day.
You caught that. To be clear, she's made it very clear. It is the Chicago Sky fans. This entire discussion is about Chicago Sky fans. And again, this is why I say I am torn because a part of me, I see all this and I say, look, again, these are people who just can't handle normal fans and they get all emotional and upset. And I lean that way because of like what Dana said, for example. These are our own fans. So she's basically said, you're our fans, so you can't criticize us. You're our supporters, you can't criticize us, which is absurd. That being said, we all know there are absolute nasty, horrible things put out there. To that point, it's everywhere, right? That's what we're trying to say. And this is why they get less sympathy from people in general, is because we've seen this whole movement from the WNBA itself, from teams like Chicago Sky, from their fans, from the media, attacking and saying the most horrific things about millions of people that support Caitlin Clark, that are all up and down the entire political spectrum. They're all shades of tan. They're all tall, short. All kinds of people, okay? There is not a homogenous group of fans that are all alike that support Caitlin Clark. But that's what they want, because then they can say these terrible things about them, and they can use this narrative. And they've done that toward the fans. And now here we have it, folks. They are calling out Chicago Sky fans. They're calling out the behavior of the Chicago Sky fans. So therefore, we need the media to be out there attacking the Chicago Sky fans, calling them these horrible things, calling them anti-tan, right? And all these other terrible things that they say about the Indiana Fever fans. Otherwise, as we keep showing over and over again, they are nothing but cowardly, unintelligent, low IQ hypocrites who only know their narrative. And that's all they're ever going to be talking about. They cannot be trusted with anything. They cannot be believed on anything. We are so much better off now. And look, I know there's a lot to wade through, and there are a lot of negatives that they just said with social media, but we're so much better off now with the likes of YouTube and X, because you can get different opinions and sources and decide, instead of just having people like Cheryl Swoops go on a podcast and lie about every single statistic in Caitlin Clark's career. Because why would you, if you're a normal person listening to that, it would never cross your mind, because she's giving you numbers. It would never cross your mind that Cheryl Swoops was lying, right? So you're going to believe those numbers unless there's someone that's going to push back and give you an alternative and say, okay, here are the actual numbers. Here's what Cheryl Swoops said. See the difference? I could go on this topic forever, but I'm going to leave it there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I appreciate you checking out this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you later.